What's up everyone, and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max, and today we're taking a look at this all new Volkswagen Polo GTI. And well, sort of to compare it with its big brother, we also brought a facelifted Volkswagen Golf GTI, so the Golf 7.5. And that's mainly because the Polo has grown quite a bit. It's always been the kind of the adult hot hatch in its segment, so in the smaller hot hatch class, but it is 7 centimeters longer, also 7 centimeters wider and 2 centimeters taller, and that's quite a bit for such a small car. And it also looks quite big, and well, it sort of looks like a Golf. I think, you know, this is a very good impression of what the Golf 8 is going to look like. All those lines, I think it's quite good looking. It's quite sporty looking. Of course, it's a GTI, but the new Polo itself is also much sportier than before. So what is GTI? Well, we've got that red line in the grille extending into the headlight unit, a new front bumper, more sporty one, these GTI wheels as well with red brake calipers, 18-inch wheels, GTI badge over there, and sports exhaust and another GTI badge over there. And this is the Golf. This is a stock Golf GTI. So no performance package, which is an option. 17-inch wheels, also red brake calipers, GTI badge, and again the red details in the headlights, in the grille. Very sporty front bumper, even more sporty than this one, I think. But yeah, which one should we begin with? Let's play a game. Marco! Okay, we're going to start with the Polo GTI. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than that, I think. And well, let's take a look at the interior, because also on the inside this is very grown up. We've got this tartan cloth, you know, very GTI. It has been this way since the first Golf GTI in 1976. Beautiful, I love it, I love it. I think it's a really cool touch. The interior has been updated as well. New steering wheel, new dials, new infotainment system, which has a proximity sensor, so when I move my hand, there it is. But this is really nice. Touch screen with these touch buttons on the left and on the right. Yeah, it looks really cool. And I have to say that this spec with this red on the dash and on the center console and on the doors, I think that looks really cool. Really gives it something special, something GTI-ish. And really nice steering wheel as well, with red stitching and a GTI logo, which still has some plastic on it. Let's remove that. GTI. All right, let's start it up. We've got the DSG version today, so dual clutch gearbox. You can also get it with a manual gearbox. And we have driving modes as well. So let's go for sport. Individual. Okay, so you can also get Sport Select suspension, which is not adaptive suspension, but it is a way to choose between two settings of hardness. So I don't know exactly how it works, but here we go. We don't have it today. Lead the way, good sir. On the inside, I mean, this car doesn't feel any smaller really than the Golf. Interior space wise. We have pedal shifters as well. And even in manual mode, yeah, It upshifts automatically, but we'll keep it a manual. It has a 2-liter TSI engine, the AE888 engine that, you know, Volkswagen has been using for a long time. It's in a lot of cars. It's also in that one. And in this new Polo GTI, it delivers 200 horsepower and 320 newton meters of torque. That means 6.7 seconds to 100 kilometers an hour and 300 kilometers an hour. Okay, sure, Max. 237 kilometer an hour top speed, which is nice. Of course, the previous Polo GTI had the 1.8, and the one before that had a 1.4 4-cylinder supercharged, turbocharged, which was a really terrible engine. But that is a very interesting trend to notice, that they went from a 1.4 to a 1.8 to a 2-liter. So really upsizing by Volkswagen, which is something that we're not used to anymore, especially not in these hot hatches. But I do feel like I drove that one all the way here. I haven't driven this today or before. These are my first experiences, and I have to say that after driving that, this feels fine. It doesn't feel that small, and I think that is a big deal, because the Polo always was a bit, you know, the Polo GTI especially. Why would you go for a Polo GTI if you could, you know, just save up a little bit more, a couple thousand euros, and go for a Golf GTI? Why would you go for a Polo GTI? But now, especially with this being the new one and the Golf 8, you know, that's still a while before that will be here, and then we have to wait for the GTI. So before I would have said no, just wait for the new Golf, but now I actually quite like this car. Ooh, and it has a rumble in the exhaust as well. Don't know if you can hear that. That sounds pretty nice, actually. So a lot of work has gone into this car, in the development of the new Polo GTI, to make sure that it's, you know, worthy of the GTI badge. And that means that it's a lot stiffer than before. The anti-roll bar bushings are 350% stiffer than usual. The new rear axle is 60% stiffer than a regular Polo. The front axle is 55% stiffer as well, and lateral roll is reduced by 10%. It's also 10 millimeters lower than the regular Polo. So they were quite serious about making this a well-handling car, and I have to say that previously that hasn't always been the case. The Polo GTI has always been sort of, you know, the cool little hatch to drive every day, which is also quite fast, but mainly it's about comfort and about daily drivability. But I do get the feeling that with this one they spend a little more time in developing a great chassis and a great drivetrain, and just focus a bit more on the driving side of things, because it has to compete with a Ford Fiesta ST and with a Peugeot 208 GTI by Peugeot Sport, which are both really good handling wise. They have a great chassis, both of them. So I think that they felt the need to improve it and make it a bit more playful and, you know, a bit more able to compete with those other two. Engine sound isn't bad either. It's quite a full-bodied sound. I do think that when you look at this car as a car, so as a way to get to work or get to your family or whatever, I think that this is really the best by far in its segment. I mean, the interior is really nice. That DSG gearbox is great for just regular driving. It's not that great for sporty driving. As I said, it upshifts automatically in manual mode, which I wouldn't really, I wouldn't have done that if I was responsible for calibrating the gearbox or whatever. I wouldn't have done that, but it is really, really good if you just look at regular driving. It's really comfortable. Okay, let's switch. All right, so Golf 7.5 GTI, again with the tartan cloth seats and the golf ball gear lever and the manual gearbox, as you've probably noticed. And well, as I just said, driving them back to back, I can actually confirm that this doesn't feel that much bigger than the new Polo. Interesting. Steering is a lot lighter in this one. And well, of course, you know what the recipe is for the Golf GTI. It has always been the fact that they wanted to put some sports car performance in a very practical and everyday hatchback. That's how it started. That's still how it is, really. We have the same engine, the 2-liter turbo with 230 horsepower and 350 newton meters. That used to be pre-facelift 220 horsepower. You can also get the performance package, which will bump the power to 245 horsepower, and that used to be 230. So this regular GTI after the facelift is now on the same level as the performance package pre-facelift. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, 6.4 for both the manual and the DSG, which I find a bit optimistic. I mean, sure, the DSG will do 6.4, but the manual is a lot trickier to get right with a front wheel drive car. I mean, you have to do everything right, so let's just call that 6.5, 6.6. So the performance package also offers bigger brakes and a limited slip differential, which is electronically controlled. The standard one, so this one, the stock GTI, has the XDS system by Volkswagen, which is an e-diff. So it's an electronic diff that basically works by torque factoring. So it brakes the inner wheel to make sure that you get, you can get closer to the apex without understeering to the outside of the corner. But that doesn't really work as well as a proper limited slip diff. So if you would ask me what I would go for, I would always go for the performance package. Also because it adds a bit of excitement to the car, and that's something that this car can really use, because man, it is very, very straightforward. And by straightforward, I mean boring. It is a really capable car. The interior is really nice. Everything is really easy to drive. Gearbox, steering is really light. I mean, I get why people buy this car, because they want something sporty that they can drive every day easily. And for that, it is really, that's why this car is the way it is. But I think that, the performance package with some extra power, limited slip diff, better brakes, bigger wheels, I think that adds some excitement to this car that it really needs. And don't even get me started on getting this car with a DSG, because that would just really drain all the fun from this car. I think, you know, this manual gearbox it's really light, but it is quite nice. So it does mean that the engagement is a bit higher and you're more involved with the driving, which I like. But because this car is so boring, a bit boring, that does mean that it's a really good all-rounder, and you know, that is a very good quality or a very bad quality. That depends on how you look at it. I mean, it's always been the biggest downfall and the biggest success of the Golf GTI, that it's, you know, you can use it every day, you can drive it hard every day. It will last, and you have something that you can just take everywhere, and you have something that is pretty fun. But this Golf 7.5, this facelift, it isn't an evolution. I mean, yes, we have the new system here, the new what is it called, Discover Pro, something like that, which this system is really good, but other than that, you know, very, very small tweaks and changes. It's still a good car, and it does what it's supposed to do, but it does so maybe a bit too well, I think. I think actually that Polo GTI feels a bit more fun, and that's because it's lighter and smaller. I don't know, it's just a bit more, like a puppy, and this feels even more adult than that one. Drag race. Yes, I'm actually quicker. So I'm going to end it here. You can subscribe by clicking the big button right here. You can also check out this POV review of a Golf GTI Club Sport, the pre-facelift. The Club Sport is not available anymore in this one. And you can also check out this playlist of POV reviews. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you at the next one. Bye guys.